On today's episode, we're going to be talking about what in the heck is a niche and how do you find one? Let's get into it. Welcome to the Print on Demand cast, your go-to for all of your POD needs, knowledge, entertainment, and information. While you're listening, and before we get into the meat of the show, before we get into the details, before we get into the nitty gritty,
get down to the nitty gritty.
While you're on whatever platform you're on, like, subscribe, comment, share the show, whatever you need to do to get us out there in front of people who need this information. We're greatly appreciative of you doing that. And who is we? It's not just me. I'm not going to be talking to myself the whole show, although I could probably manage that. No one would be entertained. But my co-host, as always, joining me for this show, Travis Ross from the White Bricked Room in Make Your Mark Design. That's a real background, folks. Travis,
yeah,
what's going on, man? Happy Tuesday. We're recording on a Tuesday, an undisclosed Tuesday.
Tuesday that feels like a Monday because we didn't have anything going on tomorrow except orders coming in. So, now we're catching up on all those fun orders. You said you wouldn't do this alone, but I did last week, Josiah. So neener.
I know you did. Travis and I went over this, talking to you, the listener, obviously. I showed him my work schedule, my Google Calendar for my new job that I have, and I have to intentionally carve out time to think. So it's like I live by my Google Calendar, which is a new thing for me. I never really had to really manage a calendar like that, but given the scope of my work, that's what I'm doing now. So anyway, last week's episode was great. Chatted with Chris Green. Everyone knows Chris Green. He's usually our anniversary show guest, but snuck him in a last minute buzzer beater like a Boston Celtic that ended up not mattering in the long run anyway.
That's I think you're referencing the Colorado Nuggets being in the Denver Nuggets being in the NBA
Nuggets.
Well, it's the Colorado Avalanche. That's what I'm used to saying at this
Denver
time
Broncos,
of year.
Colorado Avalanche, Denver Nugget. Yes, the Denver Nuggets are in the finals. The Miami Heat clinched the Game 7 last night, so now it's Nuggets and Heat, and I'm hoping that this is the same thing for me with hockey. 2 years ago, before playoff hockey, couldn't care less, and then Jason was like, "You got to come watch a couple games." And now that the Nuggets are in the playoffs, some of my friends from the church that I attend are like, "Dude, you got to come to our house and watch some of these games." And they're super into basketball.
Right.
And if the Nuggets weren't in it, I probably wouldn't care. Just like I don't care about hockey right now because the Avalanche aren't in it. So
exactly.
But yeah, lots of watch parties in the future for the Nuggets.
Yeah,
it's making history just being there. So it's super exciting. Many fun times. How was your Memorial Day?
Memorial Day was good. My wife and I went away.
How was
the
it?
Weekend. It was good. We went away for the weekend. We did a Colorado Rockies game, not a Denver Rockies game. On I think Saturday night. Well, our band played Friday night. Rockies game Saturday night, and then Sunday morning was the last day of the Premier League season. So my Arsenal were playing as were all the other teams. They all start at the same exact time. It's very, very cool. You have all these games going, but I took her to that bar downtown because that's where we were staying. We were just downtown Denver. And she got to experience an Arsenal 5-0 drubbing of the Wolverhampton Wolves. And it was so awesome and amazing and fun. Then we had some friends come down to downtown with us and hang out, had some dinner, had some drinks. Then yesterday, we basically just hung out in the hotel room, got room service until it was time to check out, went home, did a cookout and all this thing, all these things with the family. We played some basketball with the family. And while we were eating dinner, actually, it was weird. A police officer knocked on our door and we were like, whoa, what's going on? And anyway, the police officer said that our dog, we have 2 dogs, and they said our dogs were chasing people on bikes. And I was like, that's ridiculous. My dogs don't even own bikes. time for the weekly dad joke.
I told you if your dogs are riding bikes, you can make a lot of money. I think.
Yeah, there's
Sell that.
probably some other things we could do with those talents, but everything except for that last part was true. How was your weekend?
It was good. My nephew Kendrick, who came into town to visit with my cousin Matt, which I don't know if you've met Matt before, but they hung out for the weekend, had a couple, went tubbing at Josh's house Friday night, and had some drinks, adult beverages in the hot tub, which always is a bad idea, I think, when you're in the hot water. But they were here for the weekend, and then my niece and her husband, who just moved to Cheyenne, they drove up Sunday morning, went to church with us, and hung out with them Sunday. Went to Quarters, got Long's Peak wings, and
Fun.
the whole thing. And then Monday, Kendrick and Matt left, and I had to work, and so. It's what I did, and it was kind of won't get into the details on here, but looking after my ailing dog. So that was also great. Didn't sleep at all last night because of that. So good times had by all. But the weekend itself was great. Monday, take it or leave it. It's just like personally, wasn't all that fantastic. But yeah, all around was a good time. So. Let's get right into what we have this week, starting with this week's point of interest.
Well, howdy, partner. Welcome to the point of interest part of the POD cast. So grab your hat and hold on tight because we got some learning to do.
So loud every time. Every time. All right. So the point of interest this week, Travis, is something I actually messaged you about last week. Photoshop. I found it on TikTok. So one redeeming quality of such a black hole of an app showed me this particular feature. So Photoshop has a new beta version that is available to download if you are subscribed or you are paying for Photoshop.
Right. To the Creative Cloud. I actually, when you showed me this, I opened up the Creative Cloud and I see it right there. Join the beta. I haven't clicked it yet because I wanted to make sure that it was, cool before I did. So I was waiting for this point of interest. So impressed.
Yeah. All right. So I'm going to share my screen here. The thing that I'm specifically going to talk about that I'm the most impressed with right now is something called generative fill, which is a new feature. And I'll go full screen here. You guys can hear our voice. If you're not watching online, you should avail yourself of that for sure. So it's a new feature. And for some reason, you can't see the bar. Hold on. That is the generative fill. I'm going to try and just share a whole entire screen here. See if this works better.
Okay.
Yes. Okay. You can see that there. This little thing right down here is where all the magic happens. So basically what you can do now, they've really kind of revolutionized Photoshop. So when I was growing up and I first heard about Photoshop was always that thing that was like, oh, dude, you can take a picture and make it completely different than what it is. And like, it wasn't necessarily just for design. It was for altering photos in a way that was indistinguishable. And no one would possibly know that you have manipulated this photo. That's basically what Photoshop was growing up. Well, that's Photoshopped. So Photoshop has come up with an easier way to Photoshop pictures and images. So I have this picture that I took in Brazil. I'll give two examples. So this picture that I took in Brazil, all you do is you can select your marquee tool. You can select the lasso and pick specific parts of the image if you want. But I typically will just use the marquee tool because it gets the job done. So I can highlight an area here, just draw. So you can see that it's selected, and then you come here and click generative fill. And I'm going to type in Brazilian city. Hit enter. So it's going to access the cloud. You have to have internet access for this, obviously, for it to work. But it takes a little bit of time.
Progress bar is loading.
This is artificial intelligence, essentially, at its finest. So you can see here, there's a city there. There's a city there.
Oh, we have options.
Yeah, they give you three options. This one, the first one, it's super far in the distance. You can see there. That's back there. So you can do that, and if you don't like it, you can actually just come hit here and generate again, and it'll give you 3 more options to choose from, other than the 3 that they just gave you. So
now, are those 3 that you previously did saved, or when you hit regenerate, it totally changes it again?
totally changes it again. So there's 1, there's 2, there's 3. So let's say, all right, I like 2. You can just leave it, and then you can come here and select a different part of the photo, and just do. I don't know. You can type in cliff to do its thing. So this is, I mean, obviously you can do this manually, but it's a lot of work to add that city into an image.
Yeah.
So and you have 3 options. So now there's a giant cliff there that you can just
Instead of the tree. Wow.
instead of the tree. So then you're like, all right, I like that, and then I can maybe highlight this. And again, this is all, I'm just trying this for the first time. I don't know what this is actually going to be like. Lighthouse distant. So lighthouse correctly. Oh, I can't tell. Let's try and see what happens. So there's been a couple instances where I'm like, this sucks. I should try this differently, or should this, maybe it's not quite there yet. But for the most part, it's pretty impressive. Yeah, see, there's a lighthouse there.
Wow, that's cool.
1, 2, there's 3. So yeah, I like that one. And then yeah, you can add different waves in here. You can add boats if you wanted to, like a rowboat.
Could you add Superman? I'm just curious.
No, so like most artificial intelligence, not great with cultural references. That's one thing I have found. Sometimes,
cool though. I mean, you're not depending on the AI to create the initial image.
Correct.
It's basically you get to choose the initial image and then edit it as you see fit.
So then I can say, all right, cool, this is awesome. I'm going to use that boat now. So that is my picture. This is the original.
Wow.
This is the photoshopped.
And every single one of those things that you just added with AI, for those who aren't watching, they're all individual layers. So you can turn any of them off and go back to the original, picture. Correct. If you don't end up liking one or more of them.
Yep. And there's some photos that I messed around with over the weekend that I completely changed. Like it doesn't even look the same. So this is the other thing I'll show you. So I said to add a house, and this is another layer thing. So it's tucked under all these layers. So I have to drag it up.
I see. Okay.
To add a home. So there's like a little house now, or beach house.
Oh,
or
that's
whatever.
really cool. Yeah.
So then you can leave that in front of the cliff. So you can leave that. So you have a whole different scenario from what you had when you started. The other thing that's cool about this, I'll go to this other example. I have this Jumanji poster here. So essentially watermarks are a thing of the past. So you come here. If you don't type anything into this box and hit generate, it's just going to content. It's kind of like content aware fill. So it's going to completely do away with these letters and all this coming soon, all that stuff. It's not going to be a thing. And then I'm going to do the same thing to the name. Yep, those are gone.
Wow, just took it all out.
The names, they're going to also disappear.
You're taking Dwayne Johnson, Jack Black, Kevin Hart, and Karen Gillan out. It's just going to be 4 random people.
Yeah, no one's going to know who they are. How will anyone ever know what these people look like? But I'll show you one of my favorite things too that I think is just absolutely insane. So this is done. So I'm going to take the canvas and I'm going to extend it.
Wow. Yeah.
To here. I'm going to extend it out here. I'm going to extend it out here a little bit. And I'm going to take my marquee tool and select just inside the image like this. And then you hit inverse. So you select the inverse of what you highlighted. Hit generative fill and just let it generate.
Wow. Then it's going to push something similar like that all the way out to the edges of your new canvas size.
Now you're going to have a new canvas with an expanded picture that obviously wasn't a part right there.
Wow.
So they have a couple different versions you can choose from. those ones, that one. So like the tree got kind of messed up there because it was caught there. So then you can just crop that out if you want, bring it down to here and still have the tree as a part
could
of
you
it.
regenerate that part of it? Like I want to make that look like the rest of the sky.
Yeah, so you probably could just take this. Whoops, that's not what I want.
Okay. Yeah, and then you just
see if that works.
You basically are getting rid of the AI mistake, if you will, or not mistake, but just bad interpretation, I guess.
Yeah. Yep. So it's gone.
There. Wow.
And the second variation. And then if you want to just completely do away with anything original, you take your marquee tool, highlight these 4 random individuals that have no longer top billing, and you just hit generate.
And no one will ever know the difference.
And then, so now you have a canvas to do. I mean, doing parody, art wall, they're gone. So doing like parody work now, or creating a wall art. Hey, I like the Jumanji poster. I just don't want any of the Jumanji stuff. Okay, you can do it in 3 minutes, and now you have a complete blank canvas to add whatever you want onto here. So it really has changed the game for what you can do design wise. So if you want to I'll show you a couple examples. I know this is kind of on the fly, but I'll show you some examples. My friends Landon and Katie, they have a wedding photo that looks like, whoops, just gonna minimize this altogether. So this is their wedding photo of them. Well, I don't know where they got married, but this is actually quite a beautiful scene. This is their wedding photo. So I used Adobe. I used the same feature, and I told it first to put them on a beach. And then I added the Italian city. I added this cathedral afterwards. So all of this, except for them, is completely computer generated, and it kept incredible. The lighting, and it takes the AI scene is complementing the lighting that's already there, obviously. Right. So then I just expanded the canvas, and I added that cathedral in the distance. So now you have a complete
panorama.
Panorama with a thing that didn't exist there in the first place. So it's very, very crazy, the things that this
should have put them on the moon. That would have been cool.
It's true. I probably could, because there's plenty of images of the moon out there. So yeah, just if you're into Photoshop or you have the application, it definitely changes the game when it comes to what you can do editing wise, removing people from images, removing cars, removing thing. It's just, it completely kind of changes the game, because it's so much easier to do it now than it was before.
Okay, you've convinced me. I clicked join the beta, and now I am installing the Photoshop beta for desktop.
I installed the Premiere version as well, because they're going to be releasing something similar for video. So you can highlight the video and say, make this a winter scene, and it will regenerate what you have and make it into a winter scene if it's filmed in spring. So I'm excited to see. I'm pushing the limits of my MacBook Pro, I'll tell you that much. But yeah, if you have Photoshop or you're interested, you're subscribe to the Creative Cloud, download that beta and have fun. It's ridiculously distracting. I got nothing done Friday, to be quite honest with you, because I just kept playing with like, oh, what can I do here and what can I do there, and that's cool. I'm gonna look at this. And there's a guy that I saw on TikTok who took a photo of Luke Skywalker holding a lightsaber, and using generative fill, changed the lightsaber to a bat, changed his clothes to a baseball uniform, put a helmet on his head. Like, it was insane.
Wow.
So lots of fun stuff to do.
That's really cool. I look forward to wasting time with it as well.
Yes. Oh, you will.
I believe it.
Awesome. Well, with that, let's transition to this week's main event.
Ladies and gentlemen, the main event.
All right, Travis. What did we talk? We already told them what we're talking about. But why are we talking about what we talked about? And what do we have to say about it?
It's really funny when you start talking about what we're going to talk about, and you sound like a robot because of the internet packets are like you go, well, but talk about and talk about. It's really kind of humorous, but yeah, we're going to talk about what the heck is a niche and how do you find one? Oh my gosh, we just blacked out there for a second. That was weird. But what is a niche? Is it niche or is it niche? And the
Well,
answer is yes. It can be either or.
hold
Niche.
on.
What?
Can it?
What?
Is it really either?
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah, it's niche or niche.
See,
Niche or
yeah, it's
niche.
true. In the dictionary, it literally
Mhm.
says niche or niche for the phonetic print, which is infuriating. So either way, we're all right. It's the
Yep.
most inclusive of words.
Yeah. Basically, all it is just it's a segment of a market. At least in the way we're discussing it, like we're talking about niche marketing. I used to say niche, and then I don't know why. At some point, the influence of the Amazon and print on demand world forced me into saying niche. I don't know. Maybe I'm just trying to be cool. Maybe I just listened to too many people that said niche. I don't know. I don't have a reason for that, but you can. The thing about a niche is you can use it in different ways. A lot of time what we're talking about is kind of um, the psychographics of a niche, like specific attitudes or specific interests or things of that nature. We're talking about like, oh, I want to sell to cat lovers, or I want to
Right.
sell to, NASCAR enthusiasts or whatever. And we're talking about specific interests most of the time, but there's other kinds of niches, like there's geographic niches, and that's what like retail people are looking at when they're trying to figure out where are we going to open up. Well, what is our niche um, in the geographical sense? Like, who are the types of people? And that also goes into demographics as well. Who are the types of people that live in this geographic area that we want to target our sales to? And then you can also you can nail it down to like, do I want to sell to to a luxury do I want to sell a luxury brand? Do I want to be in that niche? Do I want to be more of a discounted niche,
Yeah.
or just kind of regular? That goes along with like the quality level of the products you're selling. Are we
Yep.
doing like super, super high end, premium products, or are we, just getting them out the door, really economic products, so we can maybe go with that discounted niche in that specific demographic that doesn't necessarily care about quality as much as they care about price. And you put all these things together to establish your ultimate niche. So then we talk about like, what's the benefit of this? Like, why do we even do this? And really, not everybody can be a Walmart and sell everything. But even Walmart, like they have selected a specific like neat a price niche.
Yeah.
They're definitely
Roll
a
back
discounted
prices,
store.
baby.
Exactly. Their demographics kind of all over the place, but that's because their discounted niche affords them the luxury to sell to all types of demographics, because all types of specific demographics have a subset that like discounted products.
Yeah.
Just like most demographics also have a subset that like luxury products. And those are not the people that Walmart's servicing. Those are the people that other stores are, Neiman Marcus or, those types of
Yeah.
things.
If you want a hoot, just Google people of Walmart.
Okay. Maybe we shouldn't do that.
Well, not now. And also incognito and safe search that thing. But you know what I mean? But you want to know more about the demographic? It is a wild website where real things are posted. So, but to your point, it's not going to be that like upper echelon tier of, like a
Right.
Hollister, like Neiman Marcus or whatever.
Mhm.
It's just not. It's not what it's going to be.
Yeah.
That's not what they've
And
targeted. They're apparently doing great.
right, right, because they've really focused on that niche, and what it's done for them is it's allowed them to not have to compete with Neiman Marcus. So it reduces your competition. Choosing a
Right.
niche reduces your competition by default because all of a sudden now I'm not selling to anyone that's not inside of my niche. So,
Yeah.
with our cat lovers example, I'm not necessarily selling to people who don't like cats.
Right.
Or dog lovers. I'm specifically selling to cat lovers. And then if I want to drill it down even further, I'm selling to Persian cat lovers, and specifically to them and not, um, Siamese cats and calico cats. It's
Right.
all going to be Persian cats. So, the more you narrow down these niches, the more reduced your competition will be just by default. The other side of that is that you can create what like a brand loyalty. Obviously you'll have to have time. This will take time to do this, but over time you can create a brand loyalty to people in your specific niche. They're going to be like, oh yeah, that's the Persian cat brand. I don't know.
Oh yeah.
Or for our purposes, when you think of Walmart, that's the discounted
Great
rollback.
value. Yeah.
Yeah, that's going to be
Oh, you
the
got that
cheap
shirt from
version.
Calico Crew. They love cats there. Yeah, I sure did.
Exactly.
Yes, there you go. Free idea. Calico Crew, a style of t-shirt with cats on it. There it is.
Nice. I like it.
Love it. Love
And then
it.
while you continue to do that, you're also you're gaining expertise in your specific niche. So the longer you're in it, the more you understand the people that are buying from you, and the more
Yeah.
you understand how to help solve their problems. And then ultimately, you can potentially um, make a higher profit because you have less competition. There's not as many people selling in that, so you can potentially charge a little bit more because there's
Correct.
not as much competition. So, where supply and demand come in there, you can kind of negotiate that. And then, of course, because you're only marketing to a certain segment of the population, you will likely spend way less on marketing because there's fewer people that you're actually going to spend your marketing dollars on. And, when you go into Facebook, if you ever created a Facebook ad, you can like really, really dig in and like go, okay, I only want this, from this age to
Yeah.
this age. I want this country or this part of the country. And I only want to, they have to have an interest in cats. And then they also have to have an interest in Persian cats, so there's all of those different things that help you to spend less on
Yeah.
marketing. So we got a few examples,
Yeah.
of niche ideas for print on demand. And again, when we say these, we're going to say the top level, and we
Yeah.
do not recommend you use the top level.
No, you just
We
niche down.
recommend you niche down. Yeah.
It's the whole freaking point. So one of them, of course, is food. Food is obviously a niche. I mean, there's a whole category.
Mm-hmm.
Foodies is a thing for a reason. People who just love to eat, and
Mm-hmm.
love. Well, it's more like love good food, right? People who are consider themselves kind of food snobs. They just love
Right.
food altogether. So there's lots of things that you can do with a print on demand store with merchandise. You can put a avocado on a shirt, and they
Mm-hmm.
will eat it up as quick as they eat an actual avocado or avocado toast, which I still to this day don't understand the appeal of, but white women everywhere love it. So try it. But you can also niche down, right? Like you can do vegan. Vegan's more of a sub niche within the food
Right.
category.
Mm-hmm.
Vegetarian, healthy food topics, gluten free, like all of those kinds of things.
Right.
Or there's also pizza is one that's more. We all have pizza. We play poker, and if someone just whispers pizza, you take about 5 minutes, and then it's like ordered, and then in
Right.
an hour maybe at the door. But there's lots of stuff you can do with pizza. I think that's more of a broad example, but I think it
Mm-hmm.
is an example nonetheless, of an idea. Another popular idea for a niche would be activism.
Yeah.
Everyone's got a cause, and social media makes it super easy for you to know what everybody's cause is. So you might feel passionate about a certain thing. Maybe you feel passion. You love. I know people who 4th of July is their Christmas. They are
Mm,
not allowed to miss 4th of July at mom's house because she loves that holiday. So maybe she
right.
would do. Maybe it would suit her well if she ever wanted to. Her niche would be 4th of July, patriotic humor. You can niche down further into what that looks like, but any
Yeah.
activism, political stuff
Hmm.
has been selling well since
The dawn of
2016, probably even
time.
before that. But yeah, political stuff works. So
Yeah.
whatever you're passionate about, and that's the thing too, is like we've talked about this before when it comes to niches. The easiest way to pick a niche is to start with what you're actually passionate about, what you actually
Right.
love. And so
Hmm.
it's easy to find ideas, and it's easy for you to be kind of an expert in that niche if you start with an area that you're already passionate about.
Hmm.
So the next one is humor. Obviously, novelty shirts are a huge thing, right?
Sure.
It's a whole, but you can niche down. So one thing I did years and years ago is I actually opened I started to start. Travis knows we had a poker night group, and so I
Hmm.
have a print on demand store that married my love for poker and Texas Hold'em, but also for comedy shirts, like one that says Pocket Aces, and it's just a simple aces in a shirt pocket that's printed on the shirt. There's one that says I bought this shirt with your money, and it has the force card suits. It's one that says I'm just here for the pot, and so a lot of like humor stuff. The only thing I fear is
Hmm.
the river card, and
Right.
just another drinker with a poker problem. Like that kind of stuff is funny, and it would appeal to people. So I opened this just for our small group of guys that we were playing
Yeah.
poker every month, but all of that to say that is an example of taking humor but also sub niching further and doing novelty shirts centered around something that you're passionate about, that people everywhere love playing poker, Texas Hold'em, gambling.
Yeah.
That's an idea of how to kind of sub niche down.
Right. So you're taking the humor part and then you're adding poker to it and
Hmm.
specifying poker humor shirts. Like, you could say, "Oh, you guys should do a dad joke, novelty t-shirt site." And while I say, "Okay, maybe," but what if you did, dad jokes with a print on demand bent? Now, I don't know how
Sure.
big your niche is going to be in that
Sure.
particular you might kill your market if you niche down too far,
Sure.
left-handed people who, skip, hop and jump on Tuesdays every
Left-handed
third
gingers with a
year.
gap in their tooth. Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Like,
Yeah. At some point you need to stop niching down. But yeah, like, and I was going to say, like, on that, the previous one, when you were talking about activism, like 4th of July is a great holiday, but I would say your niche should be more patriotic, and
correct.
like 4th of July is your Christmas because that's when you're really hitting the marketing hard.
Yeah.
But the rest of the year, you want to have something to sell.
Yeah.
So maybe you're just, talking about, USA, America's great. And people who are, and you could support you do like a military support shirt and
Yep.
things like that, where it sells all throughout the year. And then you have kind of that, 4th of July, Veterans Day, Memorial Day. Those are kind of your, the boons to your store and your niche.
Correct.
Yeah, another one that we talked about was fitness, and fitness can be a little bit. You can do a lot of cool things with fitness now, and if you're using like a Printful or a
Yeah.
Printify, because they
Yeah.
have like they're doing all over prints,
Yep.
and so most of the stuff you're going to want to wear when you're doing fitness is going to be like polyester or spandex or those types of materials, which you do like a cut and sew with sublimation. But fitness is massive, but
Yeah.
you've got to niche down, if you're going to do fitness. So, and you want to kind of be careful of trademark and copyright and all that stuff, because a lot of these like special diets that people are wearing to the gym, and or some of the brands that are very popular,
Yeah.
you can't use those you can't use some of the exercise, what am I thinking, like Zumba or, those types
Right.
of words because those are
Right.
copyrighted. So you have to kind of get to it in a different way, but maybe you want to focus on the yoga lifestyle, and create some products around that. We got to think out of the box. We don't necessarily want to just think about, t-shirts and yoga pants. What if you could find somebody who could print you some yoga mats somehow, and customize those in a specific way or so, I mean, there's a lot of other options and
Sure.
opportunities. And maybe the fitness niche is more focused around clothing. And so it's not the best example to branch out of clothing,
Right.
but be thinking about those things as we continue some of our examples.
Yeah, for sure. And then the next one we have is pet owners. Of course, people love their fur babies, their
They
pets.
do.
That's why, I mean, honestly, we'll
It's
go
why
by.
it's why you didn't get any sleep last night.
That's right, because I thought maybe my dog was just on the brink of death. so so, but yeah, I mean, there's tons of times where we'll walk by a booth or somewhere that has like, or a store that has like a pet section, and Madeline would, or a calendar, whatever, like those kiosks in the mall that have
Mhm.
sell calendars, like Go calendars, whatever it's called. She'll say if they have a Shih Tzu one, I might buy it, or if they have a Shih Tzu shirt, I might want it. Or if they have a Shih Tzu, so she's always looking for Shih Tzu merch, which is a
Right.
tongue twister. But definitely, I mean, you can definitely narrow it down as well. Obviously, you've got
Mhm.
cat owner or cat lovers and dog lovers, which is a sub niche down
Mhm.
from just pet owners. But then you have, again, Shih Tzu lovers, or is a sub niche of just dog lovers, or
Mhm.
Siamese lovers, or whatever. You got to narrow it down enough to kind of appeal to still have a large audience, but not too large that you get lost in the shuffle of all the
Right.
other pet owner stuff that's out there.
And then the other cool thing is this is a good example of something that, obviously you can create a funny t-shirt around a Shih Tzu, but you could also do, dog bowls and collars and leashes and, like you said, calendars. And there's so many other things that you can like expand upon, um, your niche in, and not just be, another dog lover t-shirt, or cat lover
Right.
t-shirt. There's a lot of other products out there that are print on demandable that you can add to your collection to really set yourself apart. And it's not just about necessarily looking at your competition. It's really, and we'll talk about this a little bit later, but it's really looking at your customer and what problems are you trying to solve,
Right.
and so every pet owner needs a pet bowl, for their pet to drink and eat out of.
Yep.
They all need a collar. They all need a little identification tag, or, so there's all of these different products that you can go into, and you're really serving that particular niche, not necessarily trying to one up the competition of somebody else who's serving that niche. Um, and if you think about competition versus serving people, um, it's probably not going to work long term for you. You do need to be focused on who am I serving, who's my customer. I think that we probably should have started out with that, but regardless, it does allow you to kind of stray from the traditional, you know, I love Shih Tzus
Yeah.
t-shirt.
Yeah. For sure.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's tons more. Obviously, those are just 5 examples that we have.
Hmm.
Obviously, sports, football, basketball, baseball, like those are
Hmm.
huge. And then you can, it's a little bit more tricky to sub niche in those, because if you're going to specific fan bases, you have to really tread lightly around, um, you know, the the
Right.
copyright. And you can, I mean, I know you've done some stuff. I've done some stuff that maybe has a quote or some kind of reference that all, for example, Chiefs fans know, and it's on a red shirt in yellow print
Hmm.
or something like that. Like
Right.
that's a little bit
Hmm.
that you can skirt around any potential IP issues doing stuff like that.
Yeah, and you can do parody and things like that, as well legally. It doesn't mean that they won't take you down
Sure.
on, Amazon or Etsy or wherever, because that's just the way it goes. But so the next question, we talked about, what the heck is a niche, and then how do I find one is kind of the next question. And really step one, it doesn't have to be this, but I think it helps. Figure out what you like,
Yeah,
like obviously Josiah loves Shih Tzus and his wife loves Shih Tzus. So me, maybe, I love Arsenal. So maybe soccer, or football if you're not from around these parts.
yeah,
And maybe that's going to be my, again, I got to, like, to your point, I have to skirt around those. I can't put a big Arsenal badge on a t-shirt and sell it. I'm going to get taken down.
sure,
Um, but figuring out, like, what do you like? What are your interests? What do you enjoy doing? Do you enjoy hiking? Do you enjoy camping? Those types of things. Like, where do you spend your free time? If and in those interests that you have, what problems would you like to solve? And
sure,
if you have friends that are in those interests, what problems could you solve for them? What would you do if you had all the time and the money, in the world at your, what would you end up doing? Well, that can really inform a specific niche. And while you don't have to go about it this way, I feel like it'll serve you in the long run because you won't get bored.
sure.
So I'll tell a quick story. When we were doing uh, private label products, we started a brand focused around cooking, and we had imported some products, and our plan was to continue to import products that would fill out this brand and have similar packaging and try to create, more of a brand on Amazon. And at the time, my wife was not working outside the home and she was helping me. And so we started a blog for this particular brand, thinking that, it would gain traction and then we could put our products on that. And, long term, it could really be something. The problem was my wife, while she's a good cook and she does a great job and she does cook for us, she doesn't enjoy it. It's not a
Yeah,
passion of hers.
yeah,
And so over time, it just got to be kind of tedious to, like, find recipes and find unique things and write about them.
yeah.
Over time, it just wasn't fun for her. So, and it eventually failed. But I guarantee, if I'm like, if I start a soccer blog or a soccer product, kind of page, and I'm trying to put my, I really have the time to really spend and invest, I'm not going to get tired of that. It's going to be really fun for
Sure.
me. Um, and it'll allow myself the time that it would take for that thing to take off eventually, if it's going to take off. And I wouldn't burn out in the process. So that's kind of why we say, start with an interest and then, kind of go from there.
Yep. Yeah, for sure. The other thing you do is assess potential ideas and markets.
Mhm.
So once an idea pops into mind, it's always good to do some research and make sure
Right.
that it's either going to succeed or it's going to fail, or is the market demand not there? Again, private label story. Designing poker chips, and then the market wasn't there. So
Right.
you need to know if the market's
Mhm.
there. But there's lots of things you can do to research the market and ensure success for that specific niche or
Mhm.
that specific. You can do Google trends and searches.
Mhm.
Obviously, people all the time such to search what people are searching for the trend.
Right.
What searches are trending on there. Keyword research. We've talked about that tons on this show. There's tons of tools you can do and use to do keyword research to see what people are actually searching for. E-rank being one of them, specifically for Etsy.
Mhm.
That is the reason my wife created a snail with instead of a shell, a stack of pancakes, and it sold like actual hotcakes, which makes no sense to me. But it was keyword research, and that was nothing to do. Talk about a super niche or a sub niche like snail lovers, and also I
So
love
weird.
breakfast or pancake lovers. Completely random, completely random. Um, and then you can also research, common problems and questions using sites like Quora to see what kind of questions people are
Mhm.
asking regarding potential product or service, and what are the questions, how many are there, what's the biggest interaction, what's the problem you can solve, which is something we touched on in the prior section as well.
Yeah, you can use Facebook for that too. There's tons of Facebook groups, you can like check out and like join, and just kind of not with the specific desire to or intent to sell them something, but just to engage with them and have conversation, and like just read what other people are talking about. If like it's camping or something, you can sign up for some camping group and just hear what people are saying, like where are the good spots to camp, and what's the gear they're using, and all of that stuff. All of those can be kind of fuel for the fire, if you will, for your products, and ideas for designs and things like that. You can find specific problems to solve, and things like that. So that's kind of your research phase. So you've got your passion, and then you're going to just make sure it's viable. Maybe nobody likes soccer, I don't know. I mean, I know that's incredibly silly, but, or maybe it's so saturated, it's just crazy. Or, hey, we just had the World Cup. And so in the US, maybe soccer is trending downward. And so maybe it's not the
Right.
best possible time to launch that. I don't know, but some of these like research tools, Google Trends and, E-Rank and Google Keyword Planner and all of those things. Yeah, Quora is a great one, because that's basically just what are people asking about things? And,
Right.
you can kind of look at that. So once you've kind of narrowed it in, then you get to come to the fun part where you're going to actually test your idea. And that's the beauty about, we've talked about this a million times. Print on demand is proof of concept. You create 5 things or 10 things or 1,000 things, and you see what cream rises to the top, and then you rinse and repeat, and you take that particular subset of the subset with, of your niche, and you push that out even further, and you find unique products to offer with maybe that same phrase or that same basic idea for a design, because it kind of had a little heat on it, and it was selling well. So, so that's that. I mean, that's kind of how you come about it. Find something that you like, so you don't get tired of it. Research it, make sure other people actually like it too. And then just start creating products around it, and from there,
Yeah.
you're off to the races. You're doing print on demand, now along the way, as you are in this, you're going to get feedback,
Yeah.
and there's some different areas you're going to get feedback. The first way that you're going to get feedback is you're going to do something about this. You're going to actually look around and see what this is part of what you did in the other step, but you're going to know what your competition is doing. You're going to follow them. So you're in all these Facebook groups, and all of a sudden somebody else pops up with hey, I just found this really cool, funny t-shirt for, camping, and I love it. It's so hilarious. And they just posted in there, and you're like, I wonder what that is. And you click on it and you
Yeah.
look at it, and it gives you feedback. And you're like, oh man, I should have used more of a muted color on my t-shirts when I made them. So you're going to use that and take that as feedback. You're going to listen to the freaking people, you're going to just have regular conversations with people, and talk to them like your friends that camp. Do you like my products? And they're like, you know what? I like your products, but man, I don't want to wear a bright red camping t-shirt. I wish you would have done it
Yeah.
in like, like a muted color, or like a, I don't know, like a sand or something. I think that design would look a lot better on sand. You're like, oh my gosh, yeah, you're totally right. If you have enough people, do some surveys, kick some questions out to your email list if you have one. And I would also definitely start trying to build one. Yeah. So, I mean, you're going to get feedback. Allow that feedback to make you better, and make your products better, and make your offerings better. It will solve more people's problems, which will lead to more sales, I think, is really what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. 100%. Yeah. So again, these are just some ideas on how to start, what to look for, some tips as you start kind of venturing down this finding a niche journey. And again, Just because you find one niche doesn't mean you have to stick with that niche forever. If people are multifaceted, you could have multiple passions and multiple ideas or multiple things that you're passionate about.
Mm-hmm.
And again, print on demand is nice because it's proof of concept. So you can dabble in a lot of different areas that you are interested in. And then if one hits and one doesn't, then you know which one to kind of lean into. Because maybe a particular niche doesn't really want to wear t-shirts about it. I don't know. I have yet to meet that niche, but yeah, well, I'll let you know. So yeah, Travis, anything else before we wrap this one up?
No, I don't think so. I think people kind of got it. You can just do what I've done over the years and, just throw tons and tons of spaghetti at the wall and see what sticks, or, and even if it falls off the wall, it's still listed on Amazon. So I don't care. And in Christmas, it'll probably sell.
Yeah. Right.
So we've done that whole thing where we've just gone super, super wide. I think if I was able to do it again, I'd probably have a subset of our stuff as wide, but I'd probably focus on one or two or three specific niches and really, really drill down on them. But you have to be kind of a data nerd. You kind of need to really want to dig in and do that research. Yeah. If you don't enjoy doing the research, you're not going to learn and grow from what people are saying in that particular niche. So food for thought.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you guys so much for listening to another episode of the Print on Demand Cast. We're so thankful that you are here each and every week. As I mentioned at the top of the show, if you're listening, whatever you're listening on, if you're listening, obviously you're listening if you're here, but whatever platform you're listening on, if you could take a second, and if it's Apple Podcasts, leave us a review. Let us know what you think of the show. Share this with your friends. Share this information with people that you feel would benefit from it. We would greatly appreciate that as well. If you want to interact with us more, or want to ask us a question, or you want to tell us something that maybe we missed, or you have maybe you're a niche ninja, and you want to share some of your niche jujitsu with us, printondemandcast.com/Facebook is where you can go to showcase your ninja skills. And let us know something maybe we missed, or maybe we should have you on the show to talk about niches because you have mastered them, or how at least to identify one and get it off the ground and running. So again, printondemandcast.com/Facebook, join the group, answer the questions when you request entry, because otherwise we won't allow you to enter. We just want to know that you're a ninja and not a group whore. So anyway, also printondemandcast.com/Instagram. We are there. We're at oh my God. I can't even talk. It's been too long of a day. I've talked to too many people, and things are happening. Anyway, so printondemandcast.com/YouTube is where you can go to find the YouTube channel as well. If you don't like social media and you don't want to do any of those things that I just asked you or suggested for you to do, you can go to info@printondemandcast.com. Email us. Send us an old-fashioned, the equivalent of snail mail. Even though snail mail is still a thing, we don't have an address for you to send us a letter, although that'd be very endearing and we'd probably quite enjoy it. But you can email us info@printondemandcast.com and tell us all the same things you would tell us in Facebook, but only for our eyes only. Oh, yeah. I don't have a quick... I tried.
That was awesome.
That'll do. All right. So also go to printondemandcast.com and you can find out more about the show. You can subscribe to the weekly newsletter where you are treated to an additional dad joke each and every week, which I know is everybody's favorite part of this show. It's our favorite part of the show, for completely honest. If you want to know the complete transparent truth, it's the first thing that's written in our show notes each and every week is the dad joke. That's how much we value this dad joke each and every week.
He's not wrong.
I know. It's it's the truth. Transparent truth. So with all that being said, thanks again, guys, for listening. And we look forward to being with you next time right here on the Print on Demand Cast. But for Travis, I'm Josiah, and we'll see you on the next episode of the Print on Demand Cast.
See ya.
Hey, babe. Thanks for listening to this week's episode of the Print on Demand Cast. We hope you enjoyed the Totally Tubular Show. If you've got a question or a suggestion for the show, send Travis and Josiah an email at info@printondemandcast.com. Want to be wicked nice? Take a minute to rate and review the show on iTunes or wherever you get your podcasts. And don't forget to subscribe now so you don't miss next week's episode. See you next time, for sure.